Days of Our Lives could soon see Rachel Black getting all of her memories back of the night that she shot her uncle E.J. Dimera. And when she does, wicked little Rachel might have a really big nervous breakdown. We're going to talk about whether her grandma Marlena Evans and her dad Brady Black can save Rachel from herself once she remembers she shot E.J. It sure looks like Rachel is right on the verge of remembering that she pulled the trigger that fateful night when E.J. was shot. We leaked 6 months ago that she was the shooter way before the reveal. The Day's press office got really mad at me for revealing so early that Rachel nearly killed E.J. And of course, Kristen&That took the fall to protect her daughter. She, E.J., and Marlena are all hoping that Rachel never remembers what happened. But that doesn't seem likely. The 5th-grade tween is starting to recall bits and pieces of the night that E.J. was shot. As she testified in court, Rachel acutely remembers seeing her cousin Johnny Dimera holding a gun and threatening his father, E.J. That memory was a huge part of the prosecution in the attempted murder trial against Johnny. It wasn't until E.J. had a couple of hypnosis sessions with Dr. Marlena that it came to him and he finally remembered who pulled the trigger. E.J. was flabbergasted to recall his niece Rachel was the one with the gun, and she shot him with Roman Brady's gun that Johnny left behind. E.J. and Marlena were both completely shocked, and then they broke the news to Kristen, who was horrified. She begged her brother E.J., "Please don't turn in Rachel," but E.J. had to tell Kristen, "Look, I can't let Johnny go to jail for shooting me." So, in a powerful display of a mother's selfless love, Kristen did the right thing for once in her life, and she burst into the courtroom and she confessed. Too bad she didn't get stuck in traffic, because if she had come 5 minutes later, Leo Stark, as jury foreman, would have read the verdict that said the jury found Johnny not guilty. She wouldn't have even ever had to confess or go to prison. But Kristen, as the shooter, made sense to the judge and to District Attorney Bell Black, and Kristen confessed. So there wasn't even a trial. There was just a little sentencing meeting that they had where Brady asked for her to get the maximum. Since then, Rachel has really struggled. She had to testify against Johnny in court, and she felt so guilty. Rachel was worried she'd be the reason that Johnny would go to prison. After Kristen confessed, Brady wanted Rachel to have nothing more to do with her, and he didn't want to either. He thinks Kristen is horrible, not only for shooting E.J., but also for then sitting back and letting their daughter go through the absolute hell of testifying against her cousin Johnny in court. All this is because Brady has no idea Rachel is the real shooter because Kristen swore Marlena and E.J. to secrecy. Marlena said Rachel may remember that night in her own time and said that Rachel's mind is protecting her right now, but it looks like that's starting to wear off. These little things are sparking bits and pieces of Rachel's memory, and it looks like it is all about to break loose in a big way. Most recently, at the Tom Horton Free Clinic Gala, Rachel overheard E.J. and Will Horton reminiscing, but not fondly, more in an accusatory fashion, about the time when Lucas Horton confessed and took the fall for shooting E.J. when his son really did it. Will said if it wasn't for his father, Lucas, taking the blame when he was innocent, Will would still be in Statesville prison. The look on Rachel's face was interesting. It almost looked like something dawned on her. You could see the wheels turning in her twisted little brain. That plus E.J. reprimanding her about getting Thomas to do naughty things really has Rachel wondering about herself. If you remember or haven't seen on Days of Our Lives, E.J. told her that she needs to leave Thomas alone and not to try to get her cousin to do bad things. E.J. said that Thomas isn't like you and I, meaning that Thomas is good, and E.J.'s acknowledging that he and Rachel are something else. We all know that Rachel has tormented every woman her dad Brady dated, hoping he'd go back with Kristen. And now that Rachel's mom is in prison, of course, Brady despises her. He's trying to limit Rachel's prison visits with her mom. Lucky for Kristen and Rachel, Marlena has been very actively advocating for Brady to keep Kristen in Rachel's life and allow the visits because, of course, she knows Kristen's innocent. But now everything is about to fall apart for Rachel, for Kristen, and for Brady. First of all, Kristen's kidnapped. That comes late this week, early next week, and Rachel is going to lose her mind when she finds out Kristen is missing. Rachel might hear some breaking news, some story of a prisoner that broke out of Statesville and that it's Kristen. Rachel may be very stunned and confused. And she may hope that Kristen escaped so that she can come find her. Of course, Brady will be stressed out when he hears Kristen escaped. Brady may think that attempted brother killer Kristen is coming to snatch his daughter. The next thing that could trigger Rachel's memory of holding the weapon and shooting EJ could be something innocent, like a loud noise, a car backfiring. Rachel could hear a balloon popping at the gala, and then she flashes back to the Dimera mansion and the gun in her hand. Or Marlena's sudden health scare at the gala that has Rachel worried. That could trigger something. The whole stress of it could bring it all back to the forefront. Rachel's seeing a therapist, but even in those sessions, she hasn't recalled shooting EJ. I also question if that therapist is actually doing Rachel any good because that kid's naughty and she's manipulative. She's not remorseful for anything she does. She's only upset when she gets caught. So, she may be playing that therapist like a fiddle that Brady picked out. Rachel recently told Thomas that Kat Green and Chad Dimera are dating, and Kat pretended to be his dead mom, Abigail Devereaux. If you remember, Rachel did that to upset Thomas because he was beating her at Monopoly. That's why she blew up Thomas's life. She's a little monster because then Rachel goaded Thomas into catapulting a pumpkin at Kat during the Horton Town scare. And then Alex Kyriakis got hit instead. Rachel's just always stirring the pot. She's on her teacher Jeremy Horton's radar as a troublemaker. Obviously, Marlena and Brady are going to protect Rachel the best they can. But Marlena is getting increasingly frail, so I think by the end of Sweeps, we are going to have some emotional scenes between Rachel, Marlena, and Brady, with the shooting reveal coming out at last. Once Rachel's memories come back, our leaker says she's in a huge spiral. Brady and Marlena may have to make a heart-wrenching decision to commit Rachel to the baby wing where catatonic teen mom Sophia Choi was just sent. Jeremy may play a pivotal role in getting Rachel the help she needs, especially if Jeremy sees Rachel having a freakout or a breakdown at school. We are counting down to the final episodes of Alice Halsey as Rachel Black before she heads off screen, possibly for good. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Kat Green's Italy confession may change EJ Dimera's heart and make him believe in a new Dimera Destiny love story. Duel fans know EJ has already been growing closer to Kat since she's his assistant at the hospital. EJ has also tried to play matchmaker between Kat and Chad Dimera, but that plan obviously didn't get the outcome he was hoping for. Now Chad feels like he has to keep Kat at a distance, especially after the misunderstanding that led to Thomas Dimera's injuries and Jennifer Horton Devereaux's custody threats. Unfortunately, Day's spoilers suggest Chad could find himself jealous of EJ and Kat's growing connection soon. That's because Kat remembered reading to a bandaged comatose man and got confirmation from Andrew Donovan that she was at the same Italy facility as EJ for a while. Now Kat's memory of seeing Sammy Brady by EJ's bedside makes sense, so it's all clicking into place for her. Things will click into place for EJ as well, once Kat inevitably gives him updates on what she's realized. Day's spoilers indicate that on some level, EJ may recall Kat reading to him despite being in a coma. Since EJ and Kat were both drawn to Wuthering Heights at the bookstore, EJ's going to reel when he realizes Chad's ex is the reason why. Although part of EJ may want to avoid a romance with Kat because of Chad's feelings, another part of him will feel even more drawn to her. Kat may become difficult for EJ to resist, so these two could be headed for romantic territory. It's even possible Kat will use this piece of her past as a way to manipulate EJ. Kat is still investigating EJ thanks to that joint ICE-FBI mission, so she has to score information by any means necessary. That could mean duping EJ into thinking this is a Destiny love story and getting him to spill secrets. Of course, Day's spoilers say the lines could blur since Kat genuinely seems to care about EJ too. EJ and Kat might even be the next engagement on the horizon since EJ will be eager to catch up with Sammy and prove he's also moving on. Regardless, Days of Our Lives spoilers say Kat's Italy confession could be a game changer and bring some strong emotions for EJ, so stay tuned to see his reaction to her big news. At the gala in the square, EJ addresses the crowd, now filled with Hortons instead of Brady Blacks, to report that Marlena is doing well and resting comfortably at University Hospital. The program will resume shortly. Kayla returns and tells Steve and Sarah they're doing more tests on Marlena. Sarah feels terrible that she hasn't been able to diagnose her yet. Across the square, Steve Olson notices Julie wearing Alice's diamond necklace. Julie apologizes to her brother for accusing him of stealing it, when the thief was actually Doug's grandson. Mike reveals Doug III reached out to his ex, Robin, whose uncle is Doug's other grandfather, Robert. Doug relayed how happy he is that Julie was able to open her home and heart to someone else after what he'd done to her. "How kind," Julie deadpans, "but it would have been kinder had he said it to her." That may be, but Mike is grateful to Julie for giving his son a safe place to land. Hopefully, Jeremy can find his way now. Jack arrives, surprising Jennifer, who can't stop thinking about Thomas's accident. She reiterates her desire to take their grandchildren to Boston. Jack agrees that Abigail would want her kids as far from Cat Green as possible. At the snack table, Eli tells EJ he'd like to question him after the gala about his missing family members, Stefan, Tony, and Dimitri. EJ declares Stefan and Dimitri left on their own volition, but he is focused on locating Tony, which should be law enforcement's focus as well. Elsewhere, Sarah tells Maggie that Xander hasn't responded to her divorce decree. Maggie shares that Xander intimated he wasn't going to fight her, which is good news. She should be relieved. "Definitely," Sarah, not entirely convincingly, says. Kayla finds EJ and gives him kudos for the clinic. Whatever his motives, he did something good today. EJ smugly smiles. Julie and Eli catch up, as do siblings Jennifer, Lucas and Mike, and brothers Steve and Jack. The Johnson boys recount Steve giving Jack a kidney and remember their sister Adrian. Alone with Jennifer, Lucas understands where she's coming from with her grandkids, but, speaking from experience from his own long-ago custody fight, he warns about causing more harm than good. Meanwhile, Julie finds Maggie, who shares Titan's financial woes. Julie knows Maggie has more business acumen than Xander and Philip combined, so she should be able to turn things around. As EJ continues with scheduled programming, Paulina gets an upsetting call, which she'll tell Abe about after the gala. At the podium, Sarah, Mike, and Kayla pay tribute to Tom Horton, and a self-satisfied EJ says there's no better way to honor this great man's legacy than with a clinic free to all. As Paulina gives her speech, Abe hopes EJ has made progress with what the Sammy discussed earlier. "I haven't forgotten," EJ says. Marie speaks about her father's sacrifice for the greater good. Maggie talks about joining the great Horton family and her time volunteering at the hospital with Alice, and Julie expounds on being Tom's oldest grandchild and how wonderful the free clinic will be for Salem. Jennifer presents a slideshow she and Stephanie put together about Tom, his family, and his legacy at the hospital. Flashbacks play of births, deaths, miracles, and Tom and others reading the Christmas story. As the event wraps up, Sarah gets summoned to the hospital by Marlena's cardiologist, and Eli tells EJ the Bureau will be in touch with more questions. He adds that EJ should share any information he learns about his brother. In the clinic, Rolf leans over a cryogenic chamber, giddy that he's close to the breakthrough they've been waiting for. Back at the party, Paulina tells EJ that Kristen has escaped from prison, as a bound and blindfolded Kristen is shoved into what appears to be the Demera crypt. Someone approaches and removes her blindfold. With a confused expression, she says, "Tony?" Days of Our Lives set tongues wagging with its November 13th episode. The gala was in full swing, but what really got viewers talking was the large crate that was delivered to EJ's secret lab. "Welcome home," Gwen told what was in the box. Or should we say who? The likeliest candidate is Kristen, who the week's promo teased is about to be kidnapped from prison. But if it is Brady's baby mama, nothing awaits her on the outside but a return trip to the pokey. Option number 2. The person in the crate could be Dimitri, whom you'll recall EJ and Gwen made disappear. Perhaps the EJ-Gwen scheme team plans to turn Megan's son loose to distract his lost love Leo from investigating goings-on in the lab. Finally, Stefano could be in the crate. Crazy, we know. But the soap has heavily hinted that the indestructible villain could rise from the grave yet again. And that would jibe with the research EJ is funding to develop Versavix, a new drug that regenerates brain tissue, among other things. At the gala in the square, Kat flashes back to reading Wuthering Heights to the bandaged man in the facility. EJ approaches and relays that Tony's phone was discovered on a beach with the location tracking turned off. He's hired his own people to find him because he can't trust Shane Donovan or that idiot Rafe Hernandez. When he steps away, Kat calls Rafe to report EJ seems legitimately worried about his brother. If he had anything to do with it, he put on a pretty good act. After Belle promises Marlena she'll be civil with Sammy, she leaves for the gala. Marlena stays behind at the townhouse for some alone time before they honor John. Marlena remembers John giving her a gold bracelet with a tree charm, symbolizing the trees he wanted to plant in Salem to honor the life they were building together. In the pub, Eric suggests to Sammy that he hop over from Paris and visit her in Italy sometime. Sammy assumes their mother put him up to it. Eric insists he can worry about her all on his own, especially since she's suddenly engaged. Sammy throws his love life in his face, wondering what she did for her brother to end up with the one woman she hates more than anyone on this earth. Eric points out that she once hated John too. Aghast, Sammy declares there's no comparison between John Black and Nicole Walker. Besides, even when she hated John, I always loved him. As they exit, they run into Ariana, who ditched a loved-up Holly and Tate. Will joins them as they catch up and then takes a call from Sunny. Ariana follows, leaving Sammy to marvel over her son and granddaughter being all grown up. Where does the time go? After Sammy has a nice moment with EJ in the square about Johnny, she happily reunites with Brady, Rachel, and Tate. EJ takes Rachel aside to dissuade her from pulling Thomas into her pranks. He's not like them. Brady interrupts and orders EJ to stay away from his daughter. After getting ready in the Salem Inn room where the royal spent their honeymoon, Andrew and Paul arrive. They discuss Tony and how EJ is following in Stefano's footsteps. Gwen rushes up to EJ and reports that their delivery has been delayed. EJ sends her off to handle it since the gala's about to begin. As she leaves, Sammy accuses EJ of sleeping with his nephew's wife. "Why would you care?" he smugly wonders. She stammers and stomps off. Sammy later approaches Belle with a mixture of taunts and sincerity over her sister and EJ not working out. Now that Sammy has found love, she hopes Belle finds that happiness too. Belle accuses her of coming there just to flaunt her engagement in her face. As EJ and Will contentiously catch up, Will says there's a reason both he and Kristen put bullets in him. Rachel overhears as Will says, "If my dad didn't take the fall for me, I'd still be in prison." She walks off with a troubled expression. After EJ calls everyone's attention, Belle, Paul, and Brady get up to honor their father. John's estate bestowed a generous bequest to fund pancreatic cancer research in honor of Brady's mother, Isabella. Brady also pays tribute to Marlena, who recalls what a force Isabella was. Marlena could not be more proud of her husband for funding research that will hopefully lead to a cure one day. After Kat finds Leo trying to break into the secret lab, they return to the gala during a break in the festivities. Kat discreetly approaches Andrew for advice. She's having memories from when she was recovering from her accident. She remembers reading to a man who feels familiar to her, but he was covered in bandages. She doesn't know who he is, but she recalls Sammy visiting him. Andrew points out Kat and EJ were held in the same Italian facility. Across the square, Paul tells Marlena, Will, and Ariana that he and Andrew are looking into adoption. Sammy joins them before departing for a surprise engagement trip with her fiancé. She shares a lingering look with EJ as she leaves. Later, Marlena clutches her chest as she sits with Rachel. Kayla and Belle rush over, and Marlena asks them not to make a scene. However, she needs to get to the hospital. Days of Our Lives spoilers and updates suggest that some chaotic wedding drama involving Dante Vitale from the mob might be on the horizon. Could Sammy Brady's new husband bring about some serious trouble? In the episode airing on November 11th, Sammy revealed to EJ DiMera that she was engaged to Dante Vitale. This revelation prompted a strong negative reaction from EJ, who incredulously asked if Sammy had lost her bloody mind. EJ went on a rant about the Vitale family being involved in organized crime, but Sammy defended her fiancé by insisting that Dante was not involved in any of that. She explained that Dante's family remained in Italy, which means he is completely unaware of his cousin's activities in Pennsylvania. Nevertheless, EJ's skepticism was evident, so perhaps it's wise for Days fans to share in that skepticism as well. Ultimately, the writers of Duel had the option to create a character who was simply a nice guy without any last name associated with mafia connections. The decision to have Sammy marry into the Vitali family seems to carry a lot of weight. This could be the show's clever way of laying the groundwork for an upcoming storyline in Days, or at the very least, it might lead to a wedding filled with mob-related chaos. Although Sammy and Dante have yet to set a wedding date, it will certainly be intriguing to see what unfolds once they do. Should they have an on-screen marriage ceremony in the future, it could very well escalate into a perilous situation. Even if their wedding takes place off-screen, the repercussions could be significant, leaving Sammy in dire need of solace afterward. Naturally, there's also the chance that Sammy will truly embrace her new identity as Mrs. Vitali, which could lead to a different kind of disaster altogether. If Sammy is mistaken and Dante is merely keeping her unaware of his own mafia affiliations, she might find herself in way over her head. It's possible that she could become entangled in a web of danger before she fully comprehends the risks involved. Regardless, Sammy has already introduced her fiancé as Dante Vitali. This opens the door for a lot of speculation now that we are aware of his connections. Is Dante Vitali trouble, or genuinely the good man that Sammy believes him to be? Days of Our Lives. Spoilers reveal that Sammy Brady is engaged to Ava Vitali brother. Sammy has barely been dating this guy for 2 months. This leaves that question that every who knows Sammy has to ask. Is Mr. Vitali a replacement for EJ DiMera? Sammy has been in love with EJ for decades. Sammy believed he had been killed at one point, but as soon as she discovered EJ alive, she moved him to Italy to get the best treatment available. Sammy wanted that man she loved back and tried her best to get him. However, EJ ended up hurting Sammy once again. Sammy ended up returning to Italy instead of staying in Salem because of EJ, and of course, Lucas Horton. Fans will remember that Lucas kidnapped Sammy and led her to believe that EJ was behind it. EJ never bothered to save Sammy and instead ended up in bed with someone else as usual. Sammy was heartbroken in the end. It was later revealed that Sammy and Rafe Hernandez had a friends with benefits relationship that had them together off and on for years. However, neither Sammy nor Rafe were willing to move to be together. These two did admit that they wished they could be together and how important their liaisons were. Sammy could not have Rafe or EJ, and she was always fond of having a bad boy. Sammy didn't have that, and supposedly dealt with her issues through therapy. Unfortunately, jumping into a relationship with a member of a mob family just did not seem like a smart move to make. Is Sammy trying to replace someone with a Vitali? Sammy swears that her fiancé is just a businessman and has no connection to his family's business. Sammy claimed the same when it came to EJ years ago. The truth is that Sammy cannot bring herself to stay away from dangerous men like EJ, and that is always the situation. Is this engagement truly different? If Sammy believes that her fiancé isn't connected to the family business, she could be in for a very rude awakening. Unfortunately, it seems that Sammy already knows that truth and doesn't want to admit that she is marrying a mobster. Will this relationship turn out better for Sammy than her other relationships have? Is this guy just a replacement for EJ until Sammy decides she wants to be with him again? Days of Our Lives, spoilers for Friday, November 14th note, some major moments as Salem heads into the weekend. Someone gets news on their ex while another is given reassurance, and a character gets grilled. Find out what's set to unravel on Friday's show below. Days of Our Lives, spoilers for Friday, November 14th, suggest that the Dr. Tom Horton Free Clinic Gala will continue to roll on, as guests in attendance reflect on the history of the hospital and how it's impacted their lives. It looks like fans should gear up for more flashbacks as the Peacock soap continues to celebrate its 60th anniversary. In other news, Maggie Kyriakis will give Sarah Horton Kyriakis news about her ex, Xander Kyriakis. Is this work-related or potentially more personal news? Fans will need to tune in to find out. Read this. Days of Our Lives, spoilers. Kat's Italy confession changes EJ's heart. New DiMera Destiny, love story, across town, Jennifer Horton Devereaux gets some reassurance from her hubby, Jack Devereaux. Jennifer wants to launch a child custody battle for Thomas DiMera and Charlotte DiMera, as she feels as if Chad DiMera isn't placing the children first. Jennifer was outraged when she found out that Chad was not only friends with Kat Green, but he was also dating the woman who hurt her family by pretending to be her late daughter, Abigail Devereaux DiMera. Thomas has spiraled since hearing the news, and Jennifer believes the kids would do better in Boston with her and Jack. Jen may have second thoughts about the custody suit, or feel guilty, so will Jack support Jen's decision? It sounds like he will. Lastly, Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday hint that Eli Grant will question E.J. DiMera. On the Wednesday, November 12th episode, Rafe Hernandez recruited Eli in his and Kat's ISA mission to see what E.J. was really up to with the Dr. Tom Horton free clinic, as he believes something diabolical is going on. Can Eli grill E.J. enough to get any intel out of him? What storyline are you most looking forward to during Friday's show? Share your thoughts. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to check back with Soap Opera Spy for all the latest Days of Our Lives spoilers, news, rumors, comings and goings, and updates. Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of November 17 to 21, 2025 tease a gaggle of exes and some unlikely new couples. Sammy has said another goodbye to Salem, but not before stirring the pot a little bit. She shocked everyone close to her by announcing her engagement to Dante Vitale and had notable exchanges with all three of her Salem-based exes in the process. Now, on Tuesday, EJ, Rafe, and Lucas actually find something to bond over: their ex, Sammy. Look for the three men to discuss their mutual ex before getting back to the drama of EJ's fatherhood struggle and Rafe trying to take the DiMera down. It's been quite the year for Rachel. After finding a way to keep her dad from Ava, her mother is now in prison for a crime she may or may not remember committing. Even shooting EJ aside, Rachel has been a handful after becoming a bad influence on her cousin Thomas. Now, the youngster is said to set her sights on Sarah on Thursday. Usually, this would only mean bad things for her victim, but in this case, Rachel may actually want Brady to date Sarah. Rachel feels a bond with her that she doesn't remember the root of, and on Friday, she'll confront her and her dad. On Tuesday, Theo and Jada may finally put their rocky love lives in the past when they go on a date that only Sorosing can allow. At the same time, Alex and Stephanie are under an unseen threat. Stephanie has already been unknowingly stalked, while Alex became the victim of a knife slice. Will the threat finally reveal themselves to the couple? 60 years is a long time to keep a town spinning, but Days of Our Lives has been treating its milestone the way only Salem can, by stretching the celebration across screens, sound stages, red carpets, and now a full-blown in-story gala dripping with sequins and trouble. It's been a year of returns and reunions, full-circle arcs, and familiar faces wandering back through the Horton doors. And if history has taught us anything, a party this big never arrives without a fuse hidden somewhere underneath the floral centerpieces. Woman's World covered the fictional bash this week, giving fans a peek at the energy behind the glitter, and the actors hinting at what's coming. Stephen Nichols, still carrying that patch swagger after 4 decades, summed up the weight of the moment with a single word: old. He noted that when someone leaves the show and later comes back, it's like no time has passed, remarking, "Everybody is always loving and sweet, so I'm just so happy to be here." That sentiment echoed everywhere. Josh Taylor described the wave of returning cast members and how it hit him like a reunion hallway lined with longtime friends. Having played Roman since 1997, Taylor loved seeing many of the old actors return, stating, "It was kind of like a high school reunion." Eric Martsolf recalled, "John Black's funeral was such a poignant moment," while Melissa Reeves had no idea that the show would have such a lasting impact. "To go back and be with everybody, to celebrate Days, felt like I was in somebody else's dream," she remarked. Lindsay Godfrey is one of the newer anchors of the canvas, but she admitted she clings to the veterans every chance she gets. Sitting with Suzanne Rogers or Susan Seaforth Hayes between scenes, listening to stories that predate her own career, It all adds fuel to the sense that this anniversary isn't just a marker, it's a passing of the torch. Martsolf said it simply, "That generation built the train, and we just get to ride it." And this week's gala is proof the train is still barreling forward. Emily O'Brien teased that fans should brace for impact, warning, "There are some things I cannot share that are pretty shocking, so sit tight and keep your eyes glued to the screen." Suzanne Rogers didn't let rejection get her down. Though she was turned down for a role with The Young and the Restless, she still auditioned for Days of Our Lives. She shared her inspiring story, which will resonate with many people who have faced rejection in their lives. In an interview with TV Insider, Rogers talked about how she landed the role of Maggie Simmons on days after she tried out for Y&R. At the time, she wasn't familiar with the soap genre. "I had never watched a soap. I had done theater, which was nighttime, and matinees during the day, so I had never been home to watch a soap. And I didn't know anything about the workings of a soap," Rogers admitted. She first auditioned for a role on The Young and the Restless. The casting process took place before the soap premiered on CBS. At the audition, executive producer John Conboy noticed that Rogers didn't fit the part. "The first thing he said to me was, 'Where's your blonde hair?' And I said, 'I've never been a blonde.' And he said, 'Well, in the main story, all the girls are blonde,'" the soap veteran recalled. Rogers wasn't going to dye her hair for the part, but that didn't stop her from trying another daytime soap that was on television. She sent her audition tape to Betty Corday, who was looking for the right actress to play Maggie Simmons. They were casting 7 other actresses at the time, but it was Rogers' audition tape that made the late John Clark emotional. She drove off, assuming she didn't get the part, until Clark waved her down in the parking lot. "He motioned for me to roll my window down, and he said, 'You just knocked me out.' And I said, 'Oh my goodness. Well, thank you very much,'" Rogers said. The audition took place on Friday. She didn't get a call from her agent until the following Tuesday, when she learned she landed the role. That would be the start of her 52-year career with the soap. Rogers is still grateful to be part of Days. "I can't believe that I'm still on the show," she exclaimed, "and I am so thrilled the show is still on the air." This is an inspiring story for anyone who's faced rejection in their career or creative life. As Rogers has shown, never give up. Keep trying until you get your lucky break. Welcome to Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. Days of Our Lives outdid itself all week, including on Friday, with a week's worth of memories and flashbacks that brought us back to yesteryear, and also filled in some blanks on very early stories we'd only heard about. This writer only missed 16 years of Days' 60-year history, so it was quite a trip down memory lane, written by scribes who know Salem like the back of their hands. That includes the fact that Robert LeClaire would be Jeremy Horton's great-uncle, on top of being Doug III's original dad. What a nice tie-in that brought back memories of old characters and new. After witnessing Hope and Julie's relationship since Hope was a teenager, it was a joy to see Julie bonding with baby Hope when she realized she was going to raise her. With all these tearjerker moments that had a lump in our throats, we almost forgot that there were plot points to advance. After all, this is a soap opera and things have to keep happening. As the gala came to a close, we learned there had been a prison break, but it wasn't a voluntary one. It looks like Kristen was taken from prison by surprise when the blindfold was removed and Kristen said, "Tony," we half expected him to tell her, "No, Andre." And we still might as year 61 begins. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full duel recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not, forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Salem came out in their best-dressed numbers this week for the long-awaited gala celebrating the new Dr. Tom Horton Free Clinic. And let's just say the looks were serving. But one standout had us stopping in our tracks: Martha Madison's Belle Black on Days of Our Lives. She's earned Soap Opera News Look of the Week for November 10th to 14. Belle stunned in the floral print foil halter gown in navy gold by Aqua, a dress that delivers pure evening event glamour. A subtle shimmer is woven throughout, creating a rich backdrop for the bold metallic floral pattern cascading across the fabric. Key features include a halter neck, sleeveless cut, and zipper closure at the back. Her hair was styled in a sleek, polished manner that perfectly complements the elegance of the gown. Straight, smooth, and parted neatly down the center, it fell evenly past her shoulders. Belle's sparkling, textured clutch, covered in silver or champagne-toned glitter and beading, added just the right pop of glam for her outfit. Aqua is all about playful, fashion-forward pieces you won't see anywhere else. Available exclusively at Bloomingdale's, the brand covers everything from elegant evening wear to relaxed everyday styles, plus soft, colorful cashmere and standout accessories that make any outfit pop. They even roll out seasonal limited edition collections, including fun mommy and me and pet-friendly lines, so you can coordinate with your little ones, human or furry, with ease. Congrats to Martha Madison and her alter ego for snagging Look of the Week. A huge shout-out to the Days of Our Lives hair, wardrobe, and makeup team. This look is a winner. Days of Our Lives spoilers November 17th to 24th. Next week's episodes tease that EJ, Lucas, and Rafe discuss their mutual ex and so much more. Here's a day-by-day breakdown of the spoilers for next week. Days of Our Lives fans are buzzing as Connor Floyd steps in as the new Chad. The storyline shift promises bold twists, fresh drama, and emotional tension. Floyd's early teasers hint at a version of Chad who blends light and darkness in unexpected ways. Connor Floyd knows he is walking into big shoes. Chad is one of Salem's most beloved characters, and fans hold strong feelings about his journey. Floyd respects that history, yet he plans to bring a fresh stamp to the role. His goal is to keep Chad familiar but more layered. He shared that his Chad will balance two worlds. One is the gentle Horton side that values love and stability. The other is the Dimera fire, full of ambition and danger. Floyd believes this duality makes Chad special. He intends to explore that tightrope with new intensity and depth. Floyd explained that Chad never fully escapes the Dimera pull. That internal struggle drives many of his biggest choices. He wants to be good. He wants to honor the Horton legacy. Yet the Dimera instincts push him toward trouble, secrets, and bold moves. Floyd teased that this conflict will be central to his early episodes. Viewers will see Chad try to stay grounded, while darker impulses surface at the worst moments. Floyd loves those messy cracks because they show Chad's humanity. He promises more emotional complexity, sharper shifts, and a version of Chad who keeps viewers guessing. Floyd has already filmed months of material. That early work gave him a strong sense of Chad's upcoming path. However, the production style of Days of Our Lives shocked him at first. The show films nearly 10 months ahead, far more than he was used to. He revealed that the pace forced him to adjust fast. Scripts moved quickly, story shifts came without warning. Floyd said the schedule pushed him to trust his instincts more. That pressure also helped him settle into Chad's skin sooner, shaping a more confident performance. Floyd promised that drama is coming. He warned fans to prepare for emotional spikes, intense choices, and a Chad who shocks everyone. The actor also admitted the storyline holds major twists tied to the Dimera legacy. He also hinted at scenes that highlight Chad's warmth, grief, and inner fight. This new version of Chad won't erase the old one. Instead, Floyd wants to expand him. Expect deeper conflict, surprise alliances, and fallout that hits many Salem families. Floyd seems excited, and that energy signals major waves in the coming months. Connor Floyd's take on Chad promises bold storytelling on Days of Our Lives. His blend of Horton hope and Dimera darkness sets the stage for gripping drama. Fans should prepare for a fresh chapter that pushes Chad into new chaos. Stay tuned with Soap Opera Daily for more.